and it's not a completely nonlinear system definition and practical case everything. It's just the introduction to the nonlinear system. So for our content today, we will cover like 3 main points, but the last 2 points just only like 2 slides. Only the first point that we will take like around 30 minutes to 40 minutes, but actually it's not takes so long time. Okay, as we know from previous session, we talk about linear systems and the structure of linear system. Before I go to definitions, you can see the note of our slide today. We have like a linear system. You can see, it. This is like a linear system when you have many kind of variable, but those variable construct as a line function. You can call it a linear function. So you call those as linear. And how about the linear? So they have many different definition in this page. The first of all, when you talk about linear system or kind of system that construct by the equations in the system, and at least those system have the exponential. It means that power by something more than once. For example, if you have linear systems, Anton, could you please
Oh yes,
unmute,
sorry, sorry.
please? Okay. Okay. So when you have like a linear system, as you see from the in the notes, you have only power by only one. Exponent is only one. You have a1, x1, exponent ones, a2, h2, exponent 2, exponent 1. So in this case, when you have any equation that have the exponent more than once, so those kind of system construct as nonlinear systems. This is the first definition of the nonlinear system. And the other system that we name as a nonlinear because those systems can produce two or more equations, and in those two or more equations, at least you have one equation that is nonlinear. So the combination of the system is nonlinear. For example, you build one system and you have the combination of this system with like 1,001 million linear equations. After that, you merge with one nonlinear equation. So those systems become nonlinear. But if you talk about the property of the system, in some case that linear behavior have small effects, small impact to the system. So you can omit those behavior. So you can assume your system is linear. But in case that linear system or linear equation have more impact to the system, so your system totally is nonlinear. And the other definition, we talk about the result of the equations. So it's the same of the first one definition, this one. So when you have the combination of the equation and those equations contain at least one equation that have higher degree more than one. In this case, it means that the exponent more than one. So those system is nonlinear system. So this is the definition of the system that construct by nonlinear equations. So you will ask me, teacher, what is the nonlinear equations? You will see in the next one. So first of all, let's go to the first case that our system combined with the parabol and line. So parabola and lines, you have line is linear, but parabol is a non-linear because the equation construct by the parabolic, the exponent is greater than one. So those systems combined together, you will get as a nonlinear system. And for the solution in nonlinear system is not different from the previous sessions. The previous session, you can see that the linear system can produce no solutions, exactly one solutions, and two. And the other thing is like don't have you have the multiple and infinitive solutions. But in this case, you don't have those kind of property as many infinitive solutions. You have three solution difference. So first case, no solutions. So in case of no solution, it means that our line and parabole never intersect to each other. So when they don't have the intersect point, there is no point or there is no value that can make both equations true at the same time. So there is no solution for our case. But when our line have attachments to our parabole, so it means that it have the intersection to get it's not intersection, it's like to touch the parabole. So you have exactly one point that can make your parabole equations and line equation become true at the same time. So you have exactly one solution for in this case. The next one is two solutions. As you see that the graph of parabole seems to be like a cycle, seems sometimes a cycle. So when you have a line cross a cycle, you have cross 2 points. So you have intersection in 2 points. So those 2 points make your two equation become true at the same time. So you will have two solutions in this case. So this is one of the sample of nonlinear system. And you will ask me that, teacher, how can we know that, how can we get the solution of these equations? So actually you have learned already from your fundamental foundation year or your high school mathematics that, okay, let's go again with our class. The way how to solve the problem with the systems that contain the parabole and the line. So first of all, you have to solve by using subtractions. So in this case, is the technique of using subtraction. I hope you still remember from the previous class. What does it mean, subtraction technique? So first of all, we try to solve one variable by function with the other variable. If you have two variables, you need two equations to solve. If you have three variables, you have to have three equations to solve. Otherwise, you cannot find the solutions, or you just only find one portion of the solution, not all solutions. So first of all, we try to solve one variable in function of the other variable. After that, you substitution those expression in the other equation. For example, you replace those variable that you have found so far to the other variable to the other equations. And after that, you will find the value of those single variable and you will check with the other remain variable. So at last you will get your solutions. So let's see with the example. For example, I have one system combined with the equation x minus y equal to minus 1. And the other equations is a kind of parabolic equation. You have the like degree is 2, exponent x power 2 plus 1. So first of all, I have the first equations. I bring the first equation to calculate one variable. So x minus 1 equal to minus 1. I can get x equal to y minus 1. So this is the first instruction of algorithm how to calculate, find one variable in function of the other variable. X equal to y minus 1. So I replace, it means that I'm subtraction the parameter x. So for the second equation, I get y equals to x squared plus 1, but our x equal to y minus 1. So I just replace the value. I get the equations y equal to y squared minus 2y and plus 2. And then I can get y squared minus 3y plus 2 equal to 0. So second degree equation the way how to calculate, you can make it as a portion multiplication, or you can use data based on your technique. So I just use the multiplication portions. Y squared minus 3y plus 2 equal to 0. I can get y minus 2 multiplied by y minus 1. So I can get the root y equal to 2 and y equal to 1. In case y equal to 2, you go to replace by the first equations. You will get the value x equal to 1. And you will y equal to 1 and you will get the x equal to 0. We have one question. Both question number 1 and equation number 2. Can we replace y in both equations? You cannot. If you replace y in the second equations, you will get two answers. One answer can make both equations true at the same time. The other one, only one equation can be true at the same time. So you can go to only the first equations. This is the way that you can calculate the solution of the system that combine with parabol equation and line equations. So when you get the solution y equal to 2, x equal to 1, and y equal to 1, x equal to 0. So when I draw those solutions in the graph, so the technique of graph, you can use the graph method to solve the solution, but it doesn't look easy when the equation is higher value. For example, in this case, when you talk about the parabol, in order to construct, actually, you can find the mean and mark point by use the derivation and then make it equal to 0. After that, you give some specific value to construct the parabol. But in this case, if you can find some specific solution intersection with the line and its parabol, it's easy for you to construct those. So the first equation, x minus y equal to 1 minus 1, sorry. So we can get one line, as you see the line, the blue line, and the other one, y equal to x squared plus 1 is a parabol equations. So you will get the value. If you ask me, in this case, I represent our equation by x and y, but from the previous class, we represent our system by x1, x2, and x3, and x4. Actually, it is the same, but for the nonlinear system, if you go deeply through to multiple variable, it's very difficult to calculate the solution. For example, if you have 5 variable, you need to have 5 equations. And in this case, you cannot use a matrix anymore, because like when you have the one high degree equation, you cannot use matrix to calculate the solutions. So everyone, if you don't understand any point in the slide, please stop me. I will get you in the detail. This is one case among the other case. Okay, we have the other case. Possible solution of the set of the system if our system is combination of between a cycle and the line. Previously, you have known that you have the parabol. The parabol, you have only one variable that with a higher degree or exponents. But in this case, a cycle, how you construct a cycle. So in this case, it's the same as parabol. You have three solution difference. First, when they have no intersection between the first and the second equation, you have no solutions. But if they have like tangent, it means that you have one exactly intersection between the line and the cycle, you will get one solution. And the other is have two cross the line cross the cycle. You have 2 points to intersect each other, so you have 2 solutions. So you can give the definitions exactly the same as linear system when there is no solution. When they have no point that make both equations true at the same time. So there is no solutions. One solution, what does it mean? One solution is mean that you have one point of the solution. You have one point that can make both equations true at the same time. So you have exactly one solution. How about two solutions? You have 2 points that can make your equation become true at the same time. So you have 2 solutions. So how to solve the problem? The same case as previous one. The technique is use substitutions. So first of all, you try to find one variable in function of the other variable. Subtract those variables from the next equation so that equation you get the solution of one variable. Replace those variable to the other equation, so you will get the solutions. For example, if I have the equation like this, I have y equal to 3x minus 5, and the other equation, the first equation is a linear equation, it's a line equations, and but for the first equation you can construct it easily. How about the other one? And you see that x squared plus y squared equal to 5. It is cycle equations. So how can we solve the problem? The solution is the same. You just only, first of all, the first equation, it already find the value of one variable in function of the other variable. You just replace the second equation y by the other. In the term of solving, I use the word replace, but the technique that general term that they use is subtraction. So, okay, the intersections or the solution of those equations that combine with the cycle and line. So when you try to solve, first of all, I have y equal to 3x minus 5. I just replace those to the cycle equation, and then I can calculate the value of x. So as you see in the figure, when I replace, and then I can find the value of x equal to 2 and 1. So I will replace the value to the equation. The same case, you have the first equation, x squared plus y squared equal to 5. The second equation, you have y equal to 3x minus 5. Can I replace x to the first or the second? If you replace the first equations, you will get two solutions because it's the second degree equations. So two solutions. One solution can make both equations true at the same time, and the other solution can make only the first equation true, but the second one not true. So in order to find the optimal one, you have to replace with the equation that have low exponents. So I replace x into second equation, y equal to 3x minus 5. So I will get when x equal to 2, y equal to 1, x equal to 1, y equal to minus 2. So I construct those equation in my graph. You will see that the line and the cycle, you have two intersection points. So those 2 points is the solution of our nonlinear system. And then any point can be the solution of our system. Okay, for the next one is the questions. How about this case? You have cycle and eclipse. So we have like a 5 possibility possible. First one, eclipse and cycle, there is no intersections. The second one, eclipse and cycle, pattern with one specific point. Third, the cycle and eclipse have two intersections. The first one, you have one patterns, and the other 2 point is intersections. And the last one, you have 4 intersection point. So in this case, if you have the combination with like a high degree and a high degree, for example, this one is the 2-degree equation plus combined with 2-degree equation. So you have 5 possibility can happen. No root, 1 root, 2 roots, 0 root, and 4 roots. Or you can say no solutions, 1 solution, 2 solutions, 3 solutions, and 4 solutions. So as this is the definition just only to represent the pictureable. So when ellipse, our cycle, they have no intersection, they have no tangent, sorry. So you don't have the solutions. But when the ellipse and cycle tangent to get each other, so you have 1 point as the solutions. When they have 2-point intersection, you have 2 solutions. One tangent and the other 2-point intersections. So you have 3 solutions, and the last case is 4 solutions. You can ask me, teacher, do you have infinitive solutions? Actually, in this case, we have infinitive solutions. When the cycle overlap with the cycle, it means that you have only 2 equations, but 2 equations is the same parameter, the same degree, and the same structure. So when you have like overlap equation combined together, you will have like multiple infinitive solutions. As a line, you have infinitive, but as a cycle or ellipse, you will call it infinitive or not infinitive based on your segments. So for example, if I focus only with the integer point, so you have finite solutions. But if you focus on floating number point, so you can make like very small segment with the floating number. So we can call it infinitive solutions. So how to solve the problem? So the way to solve the problem is just the same. But in this case, you cannot use the technique of substitution. Why? Because if you use a technique of substitution, one variable equal to the square of the other variable. So in some case that you have the multiple one, for example, in the second equation, I have x squared and x. So if you use substitution, you cannot find the solution. But when you have the degree the same for the first equation and the second equation, the easiest one, you just try to multiply one equation to have the same coefficients. After that, you just subtraction the equations. So you will get, for example, the first equation, I just multiply by -3. After that, I take the first equation, add to the second equation, so I can eliminate one variable is x. So I can get the answer y. So when we multiply -3 into the first equations, so you will get minus x squared minus y squared and then minus 26 multiplied by 3. So you will get the answer y squared equal to 1, and your root of the equation y equal to -1 and +1. So I will get those solution. You can replace in any equation for this case. So I just bring to the first one. However, y equal to -1 or y equal to +1, when it goes to the square power 2, it will get the same solution. So I just replace the same value. So you will get the same solutions. When phi equal to phi, your x can be -1 and 1. When your x equal to -5, your solution can be -1 and 1. So you will get 4 solutions different. And I get those points to construct in my graph. So as you see that our cycle for the first equations And for the second equation, because the coefficient is not 1, so it is not a cycle, it is ellipse. So you can see you have 4-point intersection. So this is the fifth case that you have 4 intersection point of the equation, and your solution can be 4 different solutions. So this is the way that you can calculate your system. So let's talk together. This is my question that I would like to ask you. How about if we have the parabola combined with the parabola equations? What is the solution? What is the possible set of the solution can we have? Anyone can answer?
I think they are the same. They will be the same case, such as between circle and ellipse.
It will be the same case as the
Uh,
same
with
as.
yeah.
Okay.
With yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, I mean it's the same for a case that you have shown with the interaction between circle and ellipse.
The other.
For me, we can have 0, 1, 2, or an infinite solution, but I don't see how we can have 3 or 4.
Okay. And don't say that you have 0, 1, 2 in infinitive solutions. But the other friend said that you have the 5 case 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. How about the other?
We can 0, 1, and 2, sir.
We can have 0, 1, and 2.
I think it's possible to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe infinite too.
Can you imagine how can possible you can have 5 solutions?
Not 5, 0, 4, and then maybe infinite, but I'm not sure about infinite. But it's possible if its line is on the same line. If it has one line on the same line, go up infinite.
For parabole, you can call it a line. So when you have only one parabole equation and combine with the other the same parabole equation, you will have infinite solutions. So the one that can answer that can be infinite solution is correct. But how about the other?
I can see it has 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 solution too.
0?
Like the case with the like the case with eclipse and circle.
So okay. Let me draw something. Okay, in case that our parabole something like this,
0, 1, 2.
it means 0, right? In what case that our parabole can exactly one solutions?
The top of the parabole it touch each other, like intersect each other.
You cannot say top of the parabole. You can say that the parabole have a both parabole equation tangent. You know the word have words tangent here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you say top, for example, where is the top of this value? So the tangent is mean that it just only like, for example, in each case, okay, you have exactly 1 point as a solution. How about 2 point? How can we construct 2 point? So easy, right? So when your parabole something like this, you have 2 points as solutions. And how about 3 points. How can?
Well, for me, we can't.
But actually, we can. Can you observe this ones?
Xong vậy Khmer cũng. Dạ đã chẳng hái đọc bè mùi đít. Dạ. Okay.
Anton, can you catch up with this one? I have 3 solutions.
Yeah, I got yeah.
Okay. Can I get 4 solutions?
Yes.
How?
We have កាប់មុខចូលគ្នា
Khi mà một cáiទៀតខាងវា
So when you have 4 solutions, it's something like this, right?
Yep, teacher.
So this is you have 4 solutions. I just say point. You have case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, and case 5. Do you have the other case?
ទុកប្រការnàyនឹងអាចត្រួតស៊ីគ្នាបានមែន
Yes, you can. But let me show you the other case one, but not exactly the same thing. I have one parabol, and I have the other parabol here, something like this. If something like this can happen,
I think it's possible.
other,
I think maybe it is too.
anyone have any argument to against this picture?
No for me.
Yeah, no, for me too.
Okay, in this case, I will talk about the scale of the equations. If your equation have a small scale, you can see something intersect as this picture, but the large scale, no. You know the reason why? When you try to grow the equations, this one will grow differently from this one. So when we focus on the small scale, you will see that you have like
So it's
infinity.
one solution.
No, it's not one, it's many. You have 1, 2, 3. It depends on how those equations tangent together. If those equations tangent just only like a small part of equations, you can assume that, for example, if I focus only with the integer point, if I focus only integers point, you will get exactly just only a few points that those equations tangent together. But in case that I focus on a floating number, you will have infinity. So for the first questions, you can assume that, not assume, is you can exactly the same as the previous one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solutions. But the previous one, you have only no solutions. 1 solution, 2 solutions, 3 solutions, and 4 solutions. In this case, the same. But when we talk about the scale of equation, you will get different idea. Okay. Please move to the next discussion questions. How about higher degree of the equations? It means that exponent of the equation is higher than 2, can be 3 until n. So what is the solution in this case?
It is the number of the degree plus 1.
The solution can be the possibility or the solutions.
The number, the solutions, I guess.
Okay. The solution, when, for example, if you have second degree equation, maximum solution, you have
3, I guess.
no, you have 4. Possibility 4. For example, as you see at the moment, when the sorry, I can say parabola and parabola, but I will take example in this case. Sorry. In this case, when you have one line and the other cycle equations, you have only like possibility is 2 solution possible. Sorry, it's too fast here. Okay, but when you talk about you have higher degree, for example, in this case, you have a second degree. So your possibility is when you have square in one parameter, you will have the possibility of the solution based on combination of the exponents. For example, if I have two variables, in this case, and the exponent is power 2. So the solution can possibility maximum is 2 plus 2, 4. For example, if I have only one equation is power 2, and the second equation is only one exponent value. So the possibility solution, you have only 2. So what is the principle or what is the rule of the solution equations? Let me draw something for you. Okay. For example, if the first equation is like I just say it's exponent 1 and 2, it means that first degree and the second degree in this one. So your solutions will be maximum is 2, right? How about 2 and 2? What is the maximum
4.
solution can be? Okay, possibility 4. Maximum solution can be 4. How about 3 and 2?
It is a child.
Other?
Yeah, I think it's not. I think it could be infinite. I'm not very sure, but if I imagine,
You cannot be infinite, because those equations, they have different degree. It cannot be the cycle anymore. One is a cycle and the other one is not a cycle, so you don't have the overlap graph.
So I would say 6.
Okay, can you give the reason why 6?
So we would just multiply the exponent, the 3 multiplied by 2, and we get 6.
You just take 3 multiplied by 2.
Yeah.
And how about this one?
Đôi chia cuối cùng mình ra toán là của mua phí nó lại là được cái đấy này.
Solution. Okay, 1 and 2 is the degree exponents.
Chứ bay and phí mình mặt một cái phèm.
Your friend said, you can say in English, 5. Why?
maybe the 3 exponent can, when we do the calculation, we can separate it by the 1 exponent and 2 exponent. And
So
I'll do the-
when you try to replace equations with exponent 3, it means that power by 3, you will have 3 possible solutions, right? Okay, and then you will have like, sorry, like x and y here. So when x equal to x1, x2, and x3, normally when you try to calculate the other variable, so you have to replace it with the low equation variable. So between 2 and 1, you will replace by 1, but between 2 and 2, you can replace by 2. In this case, you have 3 and then 2. So you have to replace the equation with the 2 variable, sorry, 2 exponent value. So in this case, when they have only 2, the possible x maximum is 2. So totally you have y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, y6. So in this case, can you assumption here? What is the solution based on the exponents? Exponent plus exponent or exponent multiplied by exponent.
for my opinion, I think it is
Actually, in mathematics, in scientific, any scientific method, in my opinion, it's okay to say for understanding, but you have to prove something. So in this case, the rule when you use additions is wrong. You have 6 possibility solutions. So this one is 6 possible solutions. And for the 3 minus 3 is 9. So when you give the assumptions, you can prove in case 1, 2, and 3 after that endpoint. N1 can have m solutions until n, so is n multiplied by m. So the solution is maximum. I say maximum is a possibility that can occur is the combination by use the exponent value multiplied by exponent value.
But so I have a question.
Okay.
I'm confused because I understood what you just said, but for the second degree, for the parabola and parabola, so
Okay,
this
okay.
is basically this is a quadratic formula, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So how come we can have two solutions for one axis for one x? How come we can have two y for one x? Because it's quadratic, so I don't understand the
Okay,
point.
okay, okay, okay. Let me show you the solution here. So for everyone, do you understand the question on Antoine? When I have, for example, This is parabola, right?
Yes.
And when you have two solutions, exactly two solutions here. So in case that when you try to have the two solution, you will always have line here as a line, for example, ax plus b here. So actually this is exactly two solutions. No, we can possible from 0, 1, and 2, but I say maximums. Sorry. Maximum in two solution. So in what case that plus b and the other I can say y here, but it's not totally y, can be the other. How can we construct the parabola to get exactly two solutions? I will give you the general rule, but I cannot find exactly equation for you, but I give you the general rule. Okay, to find the solution when our parabola have exactly 2 points as a solution, you see this is the inverse. Equations. When you have like one solution here, so for example, I have like y equal to x squared minus 1. So in this case, the maximum value, the minimum value is, I try to derive it here, so 2x. So the minimum ones is when x equal to 0 here, y equal to 0 too. So I try to construct those equations, and I would like to say, how can I get the value from maximums here? Just only the inverse of here. So the solutions that I can say to you, one, both parallel is inverse equations. Second, it inverse, it means that both the same equation, but just only the inverse process. And the other one, it inverse by integration. What does it mean inverse by integration? For example, if the parabola in the same shape, it means just only the inverse, but sometimes it's just only the small shape here. So you see, this one and this one is the integration each other. In French integral, just only the small portion to the big portions. And if you ask me that, okay, in which equation, okay, I have to think. So I will give the answer of one system with Ebola that can produce two solutions at the same time. I cannot imagine by the vision now, so I will find for you. Okay, Anton?
Yeah.
Okay. So I cannot imagine now, like when you see just only the graph picture, you will see something like this. And you can observe that in this case, I can set the plot about interceptions. It's contrast to each other. the flow that our equation moves to this way and the other one flow to this way. So you will have the difference here.
But sir, I think I'm sorry because
Yeah.
maybe I'm slow, but I'm still confusing about something. Can I share my screen for drawing the case?
Can you what?
Share my screen to draw you the case, and maybe you will
Okay,
answer.
okay. Yeah, we can. Can you draw it?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, with this. Oh, it's. I'm sorry, I don't have. Wait. Ah, no, I. Okay, sorry, I don't have the things to draw. Okay, I will find and I will send you maybe by Telegram, and maybe you will answer after the class. Maybe.
Okay. Actually, you can just only search in internet. It is, I can say it's very easy in case. So I can share you the screen here. In case in your question here, when I talk about the intersection that can produce 2 points, as you see in this equation, right?
Yes, absolutely. I was on this website.
So when you have like a 2 parabol across together and produce their 2 points. So when you talk about how can I say, those parabol is inverse slope flow, and then as you see that every possible answer is just inverse each parabol equations. And if the parabol equation is the same, you can say that the inverse from the one and the other one produce 2 points. But as you see that the red parabol here, you can have like smaller than this one. So the smaller and bigger it, as I draw to you at the moment, I have, like, for example, I have the bigger here. After that, I have the smaller here, but the smaller here produce the same flow as the bigger. So it's just only the integrations from the big ones.
Yeah, okay, because at the beginning you said that we can have. Okay, now I totally agree with you because uh, we can't have 4 solutions. I mean, no, we can't have 4 points, 4 intersection points with the 2
Yes.
parabola. So why at the beginning you draw one parabola and the second one uh, horizontally? So in order to have 4 intersection points.
Okay. When something in the inverse form like this, you cannot have exactly 4. But when those kind of thing different just only like a 45 degree of the I don't know how to say គ្នាយើងមុំភាសាអីគេភាសាអង់គ្លេសអីគេ angle
Angle.
angle. Yes. So for example in this it's just inverse, so it's like a 180 angle value. But if it less than 90, so your equations, sorry, I will draw here. Okay. For example, here, when you have the inverse, here is or but it greater than, I can say 90 to 128, you will exactly have two solutions. But in case that, for example, I have parabol something like this, and the other parabol is less than 9 here, you see this is 90 degree here.
That was the example that I wanted to show you.
Okay, like this, right? So you will have exactly 4 solutions. But in case this one, you can have only 3 solutions in case that the first parabol here, and for the second one, just only the minimum value become here. So this is the tangents. It's not intersection, it's tangents. English tangent in our, I just explained to the other student in Khmer, pa, like pa. So you will get only 3 solutions. So Anton, now can you catch up with the meaning, right?
Yes.
Okay, I cannot show you all the case, but I can have the suggestion for you. As the IT, can you see? Oh, sorry, I share with the wrong screens. So when you try to find which equation or which system that can produce exactly 2 answers, in this case, I just put the parabols intersect with the parabol produce. So it will show you a different point. So possibility, for example, in this case, you have exactly 2 points, but it's not the inverse ones. It's just only the parallel ones, inverse 1, 2 points. So they have its definition for every case. You have the tangents, both equation tangent. So you have exactly 1 solution here. No solutions. So this is we have like 3 possible value. No solutions, 1 solutions, 2 solutions, 3 solutions, and 4 solutions. But in this case, they show you only 2 cases, 3 cases. They do not show you. So, for example, the case that I show you with the example, we have like 4 solutions. So 4 solutions, it's like easy case 1. But if you would like to find exactly equation, you ask me, what is the property that can identify to have only exactly 3 solutions? I cannot give you. The system intersections in some term is different. So to define its property, you will see in the other slide. I will tell you in the other slide. So, okay, when we have the higher degree of equations, so we will take the most higher exponents multiply with the, for example, if I have 2 variables, so I will take the exponent value of those 2 variables to multiply each other. So those are the maximum possible solution sets that our system can produce. So can you catch up in this point?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, let's move to the other point. System output. So when you talk about linear system and non-linear system, both of them can produce different outputs. So sometimes it's based on some, for example, you ask me that, okay, which one is better when we have to use linear and when you have to use non-linear? In this case, I cannot answer you it based on what is the project, what is the task, or what is the job that you do. So for linear system, it produces in digital signal processing, the pattern of the signal repeat the pattern as a periodic in the same time. And if you ask me that nonlinear can also is periodic, it is still the same, but the pattern is predictable. For example, the first pitch you have, the picture A is the output of linear system. The frequency repeat the pattern as a periodic, and you can predict the pattern easily. So this is the output of linear system. For example, what kind of system that we have to construct with linear equation? So the system that you have to repeat the same and the same, and those kind something the same, it's easy to predict. For example, I would like to make the arrow shooting machine. Can I use a nonlinear system? Can anyone answer me? Hello, can you hear me? Anyone inside class? If I have arrow shooting machine, as you see your junior, they have the competition to build a robotic to shooting the arrow. Can I use nonlinear system? The other ones. Okay.
I think we can in some situation. Like if we shoot straight, then it's probably a linear system. But what if like we shoot up and then predict where it dropped?
Yes. This is the question I would like to ask you. So in the purpose of arrow shooting machines, if you have exactly a specific points to go through, you can use a linear system. But in the case of a free movement equations, I'm not sure I use the correct word. Anyone can tell me? I'm not very good in using English with this name. Anyone know what is the term of English? So free what? Free movement, right?
Free file, sir.
Free
Free file.
free fall. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Let me tell you the equation so you can answer to me later. I do not know what exactly the word in English, but I give you the equation. I have y equal to a t square plus vt plus y0 here. So in this case, if your system is don't have the value of a, it means that the speed is stable. Yeah, something like that. So in case you use g based on gravity, okay, good. So if you have g in this your friend have shown the picture in the comments, so you can check. So when the speed is stable, the output of system is linear because you don't have any something change in the flow of the system. But when you have the value of accelerator, so the value of the system based on time and construct by the the second degree exponent of the term. So it can be the parabolic, it can be hyperbolic, it can be something those. So the output must be the system must be linear, non-linear. So in this case, I would like to show you that if you ask me that which system is better, I will say based on the objective of your system, this one. So when you talk about the objective of the systems, I can say in 2 points like, okay, if the path PATH, the path or schema of the flow of the movement is a step like in particular pattern that you can predict, those systems must be linear. But in those kind of things, let's go to the keyword periodic. Actually, periodic, if you have like a sine and cosine, sine and cosine equation, it can be linear system. But when you try to add the coefficients of the system, it can become the nonlinear system. So you can ask me that why we have only like the exponent only one, why it can be the nonlinear system? It based on the coefficient, because in linear system can be homogeneity. Homogeneity is mean that our fx can be equal to 0, but our linear cannot be homogeneity when you have fx equal to constants. So in this case, the output of nonlinear system can produce difference of the frequency output. I convert everything to be the analog signal, so the output can be as a frequency. So can be periodic. So if exactly the pattern as a periodic, you can predict it is a linear. But if it's a quasi-periodic, what does it mean quasi-periodic? You can see the definition of both. The quasi-periodic is a kind of periodic signal, but almost periodic. It means that it's totally not periodic, almost periodic. For example, the score that you pass is 50, but you get 49.99. It means that you it's nearly past the score, but it's not the pass score. So those kind of output signal we call quasi-periodic. And the other one is subharmonic. Subharmonic actually is just only the integration of one signal to the other signal. As you see, subharmonic is a component of periodic wave signal that have the frequency as integral sub multiple fundamental frequency harmonic. So as you see, the harmonic signal, you have like a big scale one, and then you scale it just smaller, and then you just scale it into the smaller one, and smaller one. But the way that it change with the signal is the same, just only the value of changing bigger and bigger or smaller and smaller. So those kind of thing we call harmonic signal. So when you have the half of harmonic signal, we call subharmonic signal. And the other one is chaotic. What does it mean, chaotic? Anyone can answer me?
We can say
Okay.
it's unpredictable.
Nonlinear, normally the term of nonlinear is non-predictable. It's not non-predictable, it means hard to predict. It can predict, but it's hard. And the other one, I heard this is two people try to answer. So in this case, I just only give one example to you. Let me find some equation for you. Sorry. I will Please wait a bit. I will find the example to you. Okay. I think I used to show some of you, but as you see in this case one, actually the form of equation I have yn equal to xn plus y1 and y1 c1 and c2 in here. Actually, when you see this kind of equation, it just only one exponent. You don't have like a power 2 and power 3 and power 4. You will see that it is linear, but based on the coefficient c1 and c2, I can make those equations become non-linear. So in this case, when I talk about the chaotic, I would like to make something become non, because the chaotic is a behavior of the non-linear system, and it can make diffusion and confusions. Diffusion and confusion, something that grow to be a parent of the complex movement or change. So those kind of thing is the goal of cryptography. Why? Because normally when I try to encrypt my message, I would like to make my message so messy you cannot predict what is the output. So, but attacker still can attack. Is it okay for attacker? And it is non-linear. So you see, in my master research, I use chaotic in digital filter in the term of telecommunications to construct the crypto engines by producing chaos. So chaos is mean that I try to make my system is non-linear. Actually, the equation, second order equation that I use is linear. But when I try to set up the coefficient, make my system to be unstable, so it produces non-linear. This is one of the example case that I would like to show you what is the useful of non-linear system. So when, like you see in my term of research, I use non-linear system to produce chaotic system for my cryptography. So you can make something happen. For some student always ask that, teacher, what is the use of your teaching? You say that we talk about linear system, we talk about non-linear system. I cannot say to you all the cases possible, but I just pick up some reality benefit for my case. When I learn about the non-linear behavior and what is the useful benefit after I graduate or I finish this course, so I can get knowledge about non-linear system. So I take those non-linear system to be my topic in research, and then I can produce one cryptography system. So when the coefficient C1 and C2 outside the stable triangular triangle, so it will produce a non-linear behavior in the system. Actually, my equation, the flow is just only like this. So this flow like this, as you see in the graph at the moment, is stable system. Overflow functions here. So when I try to use the coefficient C1 and C2 outside the stable triangle, this is the condition. In our lesson, we call control, to control the behavior of the system. So this is the benefit or the use case that you can use to solve the problem. So as you see, non-linear behavior, you can produce different possibility output, and linear system, you can like a small part of specific pattern of the signal. So this is the output of the system non-linear or linear. Okay. Okay. The previous questions, the previous lecture, I have asked you that how can I prove one system is linear system? So you can observe by using this property. So for this property, for example, this is the some properties of nonlinear dynamic system. First of all, they do not follow the principle of the superposition, linearity. So as you see the first equations, you have a1 x1 plus a2 x2 plus a n x n plus c equal to 0. So this is a principle of linearity of the system. And homogeneity, when we have the dx over dy equal to 0, so equal is it homogeneity. But when dx over dy, the derivation not equal to 0, so those not the homogeneity. So when our equation system have linearity and homogeneity, so homogeneity in this case is we have f of x and we have integration f prime of x equal to 0, so it's called homogeneity. But when it's equal to constant, it's not homogeneity. This is the first definition of property of nonlinear system. And the second one, they have the multiple isolation equation point. See, as you see at the moment, linear can produce only one solutions possible. For example, if I have two variables, so I have only one possible solution between x1 and x2. But in this case, x1 can produce multiple x2. So when something happen like that, so we call you have multiple equilibrium isolate, just only a specific difference equilibrium solution. So we call those system is nonlinear system. As you see now, you have equilibrium point, equilibrium solution. So those kind of things connect together. And for the third point, you may accept the property of the limit cycle for the term of bifurcation or chaos in this kind of thing. It's the same. It produces the complete pattern growth of the signal. For example, the second iteration, it grow only to 2 points. The third iterations, it grow to 10 points. And the end, the ends iteration, it grow to multi-infinity point. So those kind of growing we call bifurcation. So you can, I can give some example for you the way how bifurcation grow. You see, the bifurcation grow, first of all, it just only grow the one iteration pattern from 1 to 2 point. But when you have the just like a tree, when you have like a 1 tree, you have 2 leaf. The second one is kind of meters. Your 3 leaf 10 meters to the other end leaf. So those kind of grow we call bifurcation theory. So in the slide, I also put the definition in the note, so you can check later with the slide. And chaos, as you see at the moment, those kind of property can happen only in the nonlinear system. Chaos, bifurcations, it cannot happen in the linear system. So this is the property of nonlinear system. As you see, my example at the moment of my public paper research, my equation is just kind of linear equation, but I produce a coefficient that produce non-stable, produce a non-unstability non-stability in the kind of system. So it's a property of non-linear system. When you have a finite time, it means, for example, you have the loop 100 loop, iteration 1 until 100 iterations. But when you reach to the 90 iterations or 100 iteration, the state that you produce is infinitive state. So in terms of finite time, you produce infinitive output. So this is one property of nonlinear system. In case of sinusoid inputs, actually sinusoid, when you have to import sinusoid, just only y equal to sine of x, you will have it is a kind of linear, and you have it's a periodic pattern that you can predict. But when you import the coefficient and combination of the sinusoid equation together, it's a property of nonlinear. So this is the property that you can identify the nonlinear system behavior, and the contrast of those 5 points is linear. Anyone have the question in this case? Okay, some of the previous year students always ask me, how can I prove by mathematics? So the system of the equation construct with different equations. We cannot provide the control method the same thing. Each equation and each system provide by different control method. So measuring functions is different based on your equation. So for example, if I use something in term of digital filter, so I can use a control method or measuring method in digital filter. And I can identify, analyze the system. But if I use in the other term, I have to use the control method and measuring method with the other term. So we cannot provide you exactly what is the specific control and measuring method for the nonlinear system. It based on what is the type of your system. Okay, reach to this point. Do you have any questions? Keep silent. Okay, if you keep silent, so I will just tell you the other thing. Our lesson just only become here. So for the next slide, is a briefly about analyze and control of nonlinear system. I cannot cover everything all here. You can check by yourself. I take reference from the other university slide. So the property of nonlinear system you can take from this one, and then you can use the other control method different. For example, describing function method, I use Pace Plan method, Lyapunov stability analysis. So different of analysis and control method is different. It based on what kind of nonlinear. But in generally, they ask you about measuring function, about what kind of the method that I can use to analyze the nonlinear system. You can go through to this slide. I can just only describe by you by what is the functional method, Pace Plan method, something. This is the kind of method that can be used to analyze the nonlinear system. Okay, reach to this point. Do you have any questions?
Lúcខ្ញុំចង់សួរមួយតកតងជាមួយ equation តើយើងនៅពេលដែលយើងមើល equation ហ្នឹងយើង calculate វាជា non-linear system តើវា possible នឹងអាចនៅពេលដែលយើងអាចជា non-linear ផង linear ផងនៅក្នុងមួយ system អញ្ចឹងណាលោកគ្រូ
Okay. can you try to ask in English so Anton can understand your questions?
So, okay, is that possible that a system can be non-linear and linear?
So the answer, I say yes. When you have the combination of the equations of the systems, for example, my system is a combination between nonlinear and linear system together. But when the proportions of the nonlinear behavior can be ignored in the system, so this system can be assumed as linear system. At our equation at the moment, do you see the point that I put gassy periodic? Gassy is periodic is it's quite periodic. It's nearly periodic, but it's not periodic. So when it's a periodic pattern that we can predict exactly the time, it's a linear. But when it is nearly periodic, it can be non-linear, but also can be linear. So the answer that I can answer to you is like, the response I can answer to you is, when you have the system, it's combination system between linear and non-linear you have here. So when the impact of X behavior can override the other behavior, you have linear behavior, you have non-linear behavior. So if X behavior can overlap the other behavior, so you can define your system based on those things. For example, to produce my system, I must use one equation linear and the other equation is non-linear. But the behavior of non-linear system, it's not it's affect, but it's small effect, or it's like not really affect to the system, only the linear behavior that affect. So my system is linear. But if you in definitions, when system linear and you have a small proportion of non-linear combined together, you call non-linear. But exactly it's not the same based on the behavior analysis. Can you understand what I'm meaning?
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Okay. Ada, do you have any question?
Teacher, what does it mean to be analyzed and control the nonlinear system?
Okay. At the moment, I just would like to say control first. Control of nonlinear system. The behavior of nonlinear system cannot predictable. This is general definitions. But in terms of specific threshold or portion, we can control. For example, our equation is nonlinear, but for example, the value from x to x from x equal to 1 until 10, I can predict the pattern of my function f(x). The other, I cannot. In this case, it means that you have the threshold of value from x1 to 10 that you can control the pattern, you can predict the pattern. Otherwise, you cannot. So those kind of function we call control the nonlinear system. Something that you use to limit the constraint of nonlinear system we call control. Can you catch up with the word of control here?
Okay, so we control it in order to limit the system, to limit the nonlinear system to get the result that we want.
I cannot say the limit here, but what I can say is we use the control in order to put the constraint to the system based on the objective that we need.
Okay, got it, teacher.
Okay, analysis. Analysis in this case, for example, I try to produce chaotic system. Actually, they have many equations that can produce chaotic. But how can I say that? Okay, chaotic is nonlinear, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I say chaotic, I mean that nonlinear system. So many equations can be produced chaotic, but the qualification of the chaotic is different. So analysis is a measuring method that we use to identify how qualifications our system is. So if you ask me that, okay, how I can identify those kind of things, it based on those kind of objective of system that you are using. For example, I try to use chaotic in digital filter to encrypt my image. So what is the measuring method that I think that my chaotic system is chaotic? So I use a stable triangular, and I use overflow function to limit the output to be nonlinear. And I use the histogram, vertical, horizontal, and vertical, horizontal. We have three of histogram. So to see that the confusion and diffusion of the image can produce difference. So I can say it for you here. Please wait a bit. Please wait a bit here. Okay, wait a bit. I use SI Hub because my paper is in IEEE, so I don't have the permission to download directly, so I use SI Hub that I can download my paper here. Okay. So in this case, I try to produce a key generator for data encryption using chaos in digital filter. As you know that chaos is one of behavior of nonlinear system. So my system is nonlinear. What is measuring function that I use to limit, or control function that I use to limit that my system is nonlinear? So in this case, I use two things. One is overflow function and the other one is coefficient limit to constrain that the coefficient C1 and C2 outside the stability triangular. So those kind of equation and those kind of function can make my system is nonlinear. So this is like a control functions here. So if I would like to measuring the qualification, so I use encrypt. For example, I encrypt this image. So when I try to encrypt this image, but actually you see this image is grayscale image, but when I try to encrypt, the output is RGB. So in this case, I assume this one is not assume, I convert this one to RGB image. The value we have inside, I have three value, but those two values have the same thing. So when I have the qualification, so I have the histogram of image to produce that. When I try to produce a non-linear behavior, I cannot predict a pattern. For example, the low value still be here, the answer still be here. However, the higher values, something similar to the low value as an output. So something that I cannot predict. So this kind of technique that I use to analyze the qualification of my system. One is histogram. The other one is about image correlation. I do not. Okay, let me see. Image correlation, we have like three: horizontal, vertical, and diagonals. So, for example, when we talk about the correlation of image, when we have the original image, the correlation of x direction, diagonal, vertical, and horizontal, it will follow the flow as image. But when you put in chaotic, something will appear mess. So those kind of methods I use to analyze my result of chaotic system as a nonlinear system. Can you see what is underline mean? What is the control mean?
I think I only got that the analyze mean that you try to optimize to see the which equation is for your system.
Which measuring method should I use to evaluate my system?
No, I mean the analyze, based on my understanding, the analyze is the you try to choose which equation is for your system, right?
No. For okay, the term of control of nonlinear behavior or nonlinear systems. In my research paper, I use two functions. One is overflow function to track the nonlinear behavior of my equations, and the other one is step ball triangular. If my coefficient outside the step ball triangular combined together, my system will produce nonlinear behavior. This is a control function.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
For analysis. Analyze means that when you do something, you get the result and you try to analyze that your system is good or not, qualified enough or not.
Okay.
Okay. So when I use in terms of cryptography, it's just only one point of cryptography. So for in this case, image cryptography, I use histogram. I use number of pixel changing rate. I use pixel signal noise ratio. I use entropy. So this is the kind of method that I can analyze the qualification of my system. Whether my system is not good or not.
Okay, I got it, teacher.
Okay, and the last one is correlation of the image. If my cryptography is good, the original and the ciphertext don't have any correlation to each other. If those kind of things have the correlation, it means that the original image, the plain text and the ciphertext still have something connected together. So attacker can use the original correlation to predict the ciphertext. So your system is not good. Okay?
Yes, okay, teacher.
Okay, other questions? No questions?
Teacher, can you provide that published paper of
You
your
can search
research?
my name in IEEE, you will see.
Is it free, right?
When in IEEE, it's not free, but you can use SI-Hub to download. You just copy. Okay, I will show it to you. For example, when you open IEEE, something like this, right? Can I download? You say no. You don't sign in. You don't have the subscription. So our university currently in here, some specific user don't have the subscription, but some specific user can have. So they can download. But for me, I cannot. At ITC, we don't have. So we have to download it by try to steal the document. So you just copy the DOI, copy it, and then you SI-Hub. Okay. SI-Hub is the webpage that can download books, download some publication, and then you can open. So this one will clear all the barrier that constraint to the rule of system. So you will get the paper of mine. Okay.
Okay, I see, teacher. Thank you,
Yes.
teacher. Oh, by
So
the way,
I have
okay, you continue. You can
no,
continue.
go ahead. Finish. No,
I
finish.
would just want to ask about SCI Hub, is that possible for any other published paper? Every in the IEEE.
It's not every, because the priority of the paper based on the conference. So some conference is so strict, you cannot download by SI Hub.
Okay.
Some conference you can download. It based on the rule that, because every paper in IEEE, the rule that they assign in each conference is different.
Okay, I see, teacher. So the only way to know is to try first.
Yes, that's right. SI Hub, you can download it from Springer, you can download it from Google Scholar.
Yeah, okay.
And some other conference website. Okay?
Okay, teacher, yes.
Yes. Okay. The other questions?
Yes, a good question. So recently I have a virtual private server, and inside of it I have a virtual private network. So
Yes.
in order to encrypt my request that I made from my computer to my VPS, I had to encrypt before my private key and my public key, the public key. So my question is, if I use RSA, so the encryption system, is it
Yeah.
like too weak to, because you talk about chaotic encryption, is it too weak, the RSA system?
Okay. It's a good question, and the answer I can answer to you. Let you think is it proper or not. When you talk about algorithm, whether which one is good or not. So for hash functions, you can use hash, you can use SAA, or you can use a curved list, or you can use chaotic initial filter, or you can use machine learning algorithm to encrypt. But currently, the standard protocol that they use is RSA. So if you ask me that RSA is good, qualified enough, I say yes, because it become the standard protocol that they use currently. But if you ask me that, okay, what is the weak point of RSA? Let you see the previously cryptography method as a cybertext. Okay, cyberbox. I have DES. When the first thing they deploy DES, they think DES is good for cryptography output, but one is the limitation of DES is key, because you have the small length key, and they try to innovate to triple DES. And then when you focus on triple DES, you construct three times of DES. The key is okay, but you have the problem with the complexity of the system performance. So they combine together to produce AES, Advanced Encryption Standard. So Advanced Encryption Standard can produce like a suitable performance matrix of complexity of the system, and also the key length. And if you ask me which one is better, I will say that based on what is the main point that you try to focus. For example, if I focus on the performance, I focus to the performance. So I don't care about the key. So I use only DES is the most effective. But if I would like to say, okay, I don't focus on the performance, I just focus on the accuracy of the system, because I use a Quantum machine. Quantum, you know Quantum, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I don't focus on the performance, because my computer is high capacity enough to solve that problem. So I use 3DS. And the last one, you say that, oh, my system is just a medium one. So how can I do with this case? I will use AES. And those kind of protocol, AES, RSA, every system they have their weakness, but you have to think one point that when those kind of protocol or method become a standard protocol, it means that majority of analysis system, measuring system, it can against majority of attacks over the other. So you can use it once. The other answer, it based on how you encrypt your systems. For example, if I use for private key encryption in my local network, so I don't care about the other performance because my computer is high, so I can produce my private cryptography system to encrypt. So you can see this kind of technology in the network productivity endpoint encryptions. For example, I try to encrypt my computer. I have my computer. So if the data go to outside my network, you cannot see the data, but it stay inside my network. You can see the data. So it is like a personal network. So if you ask me that which one is better, to analyze system, I cannot say just only my words. It based on the property of system that you use and the expectation output that you want. And if you would like to analyze that your SHA cryptography is better performance, it based on what is a measuring function that you use to analyze, and currently attacking method against that method, attacking manner of attacker against that your method, how they are working now. What is the point that they can attack to your system? 50%, 60%, 90%, or 100? I can give you only this idea. I cannot answer exactly is it good or not. Okay. Antoine, perhaps you can spend more time with the project. You will see the project later. Something about public key, private key, and then password. But I do not know that your team will take that topic or not. Let's see. Okay. The other questions. Do you want to have a rest a little bit, or we can continue with our project description and discussion, and you can finish early? Which one you prefer?
Can we
Would you like to
continue?
finish earlier?
What?
I do agree to finish earlier.
Okay. Other?
Yes, me too. Me too.
Okay. Because I think only a few students interact with me, but perhaps some students are sleeping. Okay, let me go to the project presentations. Everyone, please wake up. Now we go to the project presentations. S stand for what?
Modeling and simulation.
Yeah. So today, as I used to tell everyone that our course is a theory course, mostly theory. We have the practical time, but mostly we focus on theory. It's an oriented course that give you some idea, some specific term of the system that you can go to higher education and then you take as a part of your research. So we do not have the final exam, but you have the presentations or project research. So let's go to the first. This is the rule of project. So our project must be done by a group. So everyone inside class must work together as a group. Each member is responsible for one main task of the project. So in your project, you have to divide main tasks to each member of the team, and then each person responsible for those kind of main tasks. This is one of the rule constraint in our project conducting. 3. Each member must present for his and her point. So if we defend your project online, each member have to present their point. Not only one person present everything. No, each person present their point. Class has been divided into 5 groups. The same case as previously. So previously I divide more than 5 groups, but currently I will divide only into 5 groups. And I do not select the group for you, but I will say that the one that graduate from year 4 and you have the rank in the class number 1 until number 5 will become a team leader. So you can, the other can be team leader, but you just represent one team. For example, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, you represent one team. So you have to find your member and member have to find your team. So you will decide to have only 5 groups among everyone here. One member absent. One member absent during a presentation. It equal to 30 points of the project deduction score. For example, the total score is 100. So actually you don't have 100 when you make a presentation to defend your project. There is no one perfect. So you don't have like a full score 100. So if one member absent, it means that 30 points will be deducted. If 2 members absent, it means your team failed already because you have only 40 score to defend. 3 members absent, team fail. Okay. Video presentations. In case that we cannot conduct on, make it defend on site, so we will make a video of presentations. The slide presentation is mean that everyone present about the project and plus demonstration. So we have the 15 minutes with the slide presentation and demonstrations. After that, 5 minutes for Q&A sessions. So this is the rule of your project conducting. So now we reach to we have only 8 weeks to go because I study only the first month only 1 sessions, the second month 2 sessions, and this third month only 2 sessions. So it means that we can finish 5 sessions now. You still have 3 more sessions to go. So you will finish in January. I will announce later about the date of your defense. So you have minimum 3 weeks to go to finish your project. Okay, this is the rule. So I have 3 projects to all of you at the moment. Antoine just asked me about the encryption, so it's something about encryption here. Okay, the first project is about system remote access using OpenSSH. What does SSH stand for? What? Hello.
Secure cell.
Okay, secure cell. So for remote access using OpenSSH is meaning you use secure cell to remote access. So even in client Windows user or you Linux or you use Mac OS, so you have the OpenSSH that is suitable for those everything. So you have to install the OpenSSH server and client. The description of the problem is that you construct the model that can represent SSH function and the process flow. So can this model construct by use mathematics, or this SSH function can be construct using what, a diagram, or use a graph, or use a physical model, or what? So the goal of this project is you have to use those kind of thing to create the model to represent your ASH functions. The second question of the goal of the project is, what is the relationship between public key, private key, and password in system remote access using OpenSSH? The third one, how those three components communicate with each other. This is the activity diagram flow, or you can build a workflow diagram to see the how public key, private key, public and password communicate with each other. The detail of 3-element construction. In order to produce a public key, what should I do? In order to produce a private key, what should I do? And in order to construct a password, what should I do? So, and the other one is build the simulation system process for this function by using terminal or and open source. So you just build the other system. You use terminal to ASH to one server, for example. So by using public key, private key, and password, for example, or you can use any other software. For example, in my case, I use Bitwise as a software client. So when I try to log into some specific server here, I have my username and I have my public key here. And then in order to connect, I have to put the password, for example. So they will ask me to put my password because I align those kind of things, relationship between the password with my public key and private key. The problem that would like to ask you is that if I don't have the password, what should I do? If I have only public key without private key, what should I do? If I have only private key without public key, what should I do? So this is the goal of project that you have to solve. This is one tool or software open source that you use as a SSH client. The first project, okay? For the first project, do you have any question to ask?
Yes, sir. Just a quick question. So, what, I don't clearly understand the goal of the project.
Okay, the goal of project is construct the model to represent SSH function and simulate it how it works. But the sub goal, because in order to construct SSH, some element is needed such as algorithm, public key, private key, and password. So I just only asked about the public key, private key, and password, how you construct those kind of things, and what is the relationship between those components.
Okay.
Okay. The first project. Do you have any questions? No questions. Okay. The second project about cryptography. Normally, when we try to focus on cryptography, the property of nonlinear system is needed, such as confusion, diffusion, and chaotic. Or we can say chaos as a noun. Chaotic is adjective. So the purpose of our research here, it can be a research or can be development. It based on what method or what function of cryptography that you use. So the goal is to build a cryptography system effectiveness that we need. The sum of kind of property is confusion, diffusion, and chaos. So this kind of term of research or development that you have to find one system. Search anything. If you have exist your system by your hands, or you have created by your own, or you have to go to the other see the other publications based on your teams, research and find one system of cryptography that can produce those kind of keywords. One thing that I would like to tell you, if you take my paper, I think you will have the problem. The reason why, I know everything in my paper. So the question will deeply inside my paper if you use my paper. Just alert to you, okay? So when you select one system, construct the model that can represent your system. For example, my system at the moment, the system construct by use one equations. So I have only one equation, mathematical equation can represent my system, and to produce the linear function, I use confusion and diffusion chaos. So the goal is when you have found one system of the purpose of cryptography, construct a model. Some paper they already have their model. You can just take those model and learn so far about that model and present it. Present the component inside the system. So to construct the model of your system, or to construct the functionality of your system, what is the main component inside? How does it work? And then you simulate the system. The problem is simulation. Some publication paper, they have code that you can download or you can GitHub from them. But some paper, they do not provide the coding. So you have to simulation code by yourself. So this is the second project. Do you have any questions? One, two, three. Okay, no question, right? Let's go to third project. Okay. Okay.
We ask confusion, diffusion, and chaos. We need to describe about it too, right?
The three property, sometimes only one property you can produce is still okay. But if you can find your system produce those three property, is the best. And the question inside that, in which point that you can confirm that your system can produce confusions. I can give example to you. In CatMap, you know CatMap cryptography, right? A CatMap,
Yeah.
the main output of those CatMap is confusion and diffusion. So you can, and chaotic. So my system is chaotic. Can I combine my system together to produce one cryptography that has three properties? Yes, I can. See? So I don't focus about the accuracy of property and performance inside. I just only the system that can produce what I need. The other factor, I don't care. So you can combine two systems together to reach the principal goal of the project. Or if you don't have a big like enough capacity or ability to find the solutions, so perhaps you can pick up only confusion or diffusion or chaotic or two property together. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? One, two, three.
No.
Okay. Okay. Let's go to the third question. Third project. I think most of you heard about this. Do you know about centralized and decentralized system? Um, do you heard anything about cryptocurrency blockchains?
Yes.
Yes.
The goal of cryptography of blockchains, they would like to make something decentralized. It's mean, for example, I have one big data, I store everywhere. So those kind of things is kind of centralized. But for example, if I am a network administrator, every network component in my company, I would like to make a centralized management. So I have only one system that can manage every structure or network inside my company. So those kind of things is centralized and decentralized. Our project is that currently, in order to manage security and data facilitations, the technology of data decentralization is very famous. But in terms of management, centralized still the commonly used. As I give example to you at the moment, data structure in cryptocurrency and blockchain, they use decentralized. For example, if I am a manager and I use, for example, I try to use a hotspot in my company, and then every access point controlled by only one application or workplace, so I can manage everything. So those kind of things we call centralized. So build one system is, in this case, I just use build or use or implement or searching the other system based on all of you. But I just use build term of build. You can, it's a kind of research work, development work, or you build your own self. So you have one system, we use decentralized technology, and the other one system use centralized technology. Any system as you prefer. You implement it, you development it, or you search for it, and then model those systems. So your system, you have two systems. One is centralized and the other one is decentralized. Your system can be use control function. You have only one system, and in some particular term it is centralized. In some particular, the other term is decentralized, or system separately. So you have your choice. One system combined together or separate one by one, and model the system. So if you have to build two different systems, so you have to model X system, simulate the system, how does it work, and provide assumption of system qualification analysis. For example, I use cryptography system as the centralized. For example, I just the example. So how can I analyze that my system is good enough? So this is the third project. Okay, questions?
If I want to use only decentralized system to represent my project, is it possible?
It is possible, but your score will be deducted.
Oh.
For example, if I give majority 50%, 50% for centralized and decentralized. So if you do only one, you will get only 50% of the score. Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the other questions?
So how many members should we choose? Like for a group?
Mother, how many students left in the class totally now?
Actually, maybe nearly 40% because some of them go to on class.
Oh, no, do not count them. Just only count the people that's still in engineering class.
Maybe 40, including Anton.
Okay, if 40 by divide by 5 is mean that each team maximum is 8 people, minimum 8 people. Okay, 8 or 9 based on the team.
So like if there any one of them didn't do their work, so you will deduct
Just
30
report to
points.
me. Do not wait until the last day of the presentation. During the process, if they do not follow the guideline of the team member or team leader, or they just ignore your work, just report to me privately.
Okay.
Okay, but before you report someone, you have to ask them first, are they willing to join your project? Or what is the reason why they don't do anything? And do they change something after you criticize to each other? If they change, okay, let's continue to do your work. But If they do not change, say they just ignore us, they just ignore about our team project, report them to me.
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
Teacher, I have a question that
Yes.
our project have only 3 and we have 5 group. So how could you divide project for each group?
You will see later.
Teacher, how about group member? Teacher? Do you separate it for us or we choose
You will see
our
later.
own?
We still have the. I do not finish the project yet. Why you are? We reached to project number 3. Currently, how about the project number 3? Do you have any questions?
Maybe like for each project, if we take the example to show our project design, is it okay?
Example.
It's like use blockchain and then we build a central decentral beside it.
If you build blockchain technology, I don't think your time is enough. But if you are capable enough to build it, I'm very impressed to see it. I'm very happy to see it. I just someone that expert in network technology. I can give example to you for the this decentralized something. You know Redis? What does it mean, red zero? What does it mean? Red 1, red 2, red 3, and then red 5. So those kind of things is an example for centralized, decentralized, or decentralized most of things. For example, I have this and then try to make a red 5. And the way that they store the information for the disk is decentralized, for example. So how red 5 work, for example. I think you have finished your class with network administration already, right?
Yes, sir.
Because in network
Yes.
administration class, I think you have learned about NAS, network as a storage. So I think you have learned so far already about those kind of things, and about centralized, decentralized. They have many applications in centralized. The problem is that how can you construct the model to represent those systems? I think in your mind currently you will focus about, oh, I build blockchains, I build cryptocurrency. If you build, I don't think you have enough time. But if you are capable enough, okay, good. I will say good. Okay.
Tuân thủ trong vậy tha dương miên ở file man server một trong cả share file từ client năng ở năng chỉ centralize mà tuân thủ.
When you have one file server and you try to share those file to your client, do you think this is a one centralized? It based on network topology that you build. For example, if I have one central server, I store the data, and every of my client that connect to network cannot get access to those data. We call it the centralizations. We have the central storage of the data, and then everyone can access it. It is a term of accessing. Okay. Okay. Other, do you have any questions? No questions? Master, when you go back, you have to alert to the other member that absent today, so they don't have the second chance. However, they are options, but they have to join the team. If there is no name, their name in the team group, so they will be failed in my class. Okay,
Yes,
Master.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
So
When our
okay.
at
What?
the timetable for our project to 2 weeks.
You will see in the next slide. So the previous question of our member here and your master questions here. So you will see in this slide. Our project. After I have made a description, we have only 3 projects, but for 5 teams. Our rule of project is first come, first serve. One topic can be done only 2 group maximums. So we have 5 teams and then we have 3 projects. So it means that every project will be done by our class. Submit team member and select project in the post of the team within today. So our class reached to 5 o'clock. So you have to submit your project selected member within today 5 o'clock in the post of the team. I do not create assignment, so please post it the team with your project. Which project will you do and who will be your team member? About your project descriptions, the presentation and the submission of your project will be made in the submission day and presentation day. For example, the 8th week is the last week of our class, so we will have the presentation. You don't need to submit me right now. After you make a presentation or you upload your presentation to present in the Microsoft Teams, after that you can present it to me in the documentations. Give the presentations, give the documents and material that you have made so far. So this is the end of today's class. What you have to do, the one have the rank number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 until number 5. The team, the other people join the team that you prefer. Select the topic. Make a post in our Microsoft Team today within 5 p.m. First come, first serve. Anyone post first, you get those topics. But for example, there are 2 groups. Take the first topic as the topic. So the third post take the same. You are not eligible. So you have to choose the other topic. Okay, do you understand or catch up the project and your work now?
Dạ cậu Trăng mà thêm do mà nhận ra được cậu.
As the maximum is not reached to 10, just only 8 or 9. 8, I can say 8 because your member is not reached to 40. As you see right now, the joining the class has only 26 or 27, so around 30 something. So only 8 people maximum per group.
And we post the group on the chat.
Not chat, in the post of the team here.
Okay.
Because in team you have post, right?
Yes.
For example, in forum here, so you just only create a new conversation post and then you send a file that consists of project topic and then team member. Okay.
Teacher, how do we know that person who rank from 1 to 5? Did you
Your
provide?
4 grade, your 4 grade. your year for result. I think you know it, right?
I forgot. I don't know, but I forgot.
If you forgot, you can go to check again your result. I do not know which one. You can check with your secretary. And for Antoine, you can join any group as you want.
Teacher, I have one more question that if we cannot find enough member by today, so what should we do? Like a group can find only 4 or 5 member only, so what should we do for that?
So in the case that until 5 p.m. you still don't have enough member, just post it. But the bad case is you cannot select your topic freedomly. Just need the worst case. But if you have less member, just take less member. But the one master, I say again and again, inform to your team member, you have only time until 5 p.m. today. So the one that have no name in the list automatically fail my class. No exceptions. So I think you love your friend. So if you see someone miss in the team list, you can contact to them. You don't want your friend to be fail, right? Okay, can you catch up what I mean?
Yes, I got it, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, I will upload the class material today and then project description to you in the Microsoft post.
Teacher,
Yep.
I'm just back from the WC. So which team I'm in, teacher?
You can ask your team member. You see in the slide here, the rank of the team choose by yourself and your team leader. I can take like, okay, number 1 and number 5 to represent the team. So you can choose the member and discussion that you allow those person to into your team or not. For example, it say that teacher, I ask every team to join the class, to join their team, but they do not allow me to go inside team. The one that already asked the other and the other team not approve. The team that not approved will have the problem. Why you have the rest team inside the class? ភាសាខ្មែរសួរស្ដាប់មកយើងមានរើសអើងពួកម៉ាក់នៅក្នុងថ្នាក់
But
Okay.
But like,
So for our class, you still have like around 1 hour and a half more to go to select the topic and define team member.
Teacher, like we send as Excel or what?
Anything,
okay.
any platform that you want. Microsoft Word, PDF, picture, up to you. Any questions to go? Any questions? No questions? Okay. If you don't have a question, I just have one announcement to you. For next week, you don't have class, but you have to submit task divisions. Okay?
So like this week teacher will, after we choose the topic, and then teacher will give you the topic, and then we can move on to divide task division, right?
Yeah, and you can start your project.
Okay.
So this week until 5 o'clock, I spend so much time to talk to everyone, so you will have less time to build your group and then find the topic. So lastly, today at 5 o'clock, you submit your team member and the project. you have 1 week to go to make a task divisions and make a submissions. During this week, you can submit anytime. So for the submissions, you do not need to submit in assignment. You just prepare document and then you post in the group team, Microsoft team, and then you just post that, teacher, this is my group task divisions member and responsibility of each member. I will use those task divisions to add to be the document as a reference document to ask you a question in Q&A session after your presentation. One member fail, you will fail individual work.
Okay, like the task division we divide, not like we create our point, like it have like functionality model or whatever like that, and then we just put there, or we reference to the document that teacher give us.
For the every project number 1 until number 3, you have the goal of project is to produce outcome by the description in the slide, right?
Yes.
So the way that you identify the outline of your report or of your project outcome based on the themes. But one thing that is the worst case is I am the member of the team. I am the one that responds for slide making. It's not about project, but it is the worst case.
Teacher, like we have 8 members and then we divide. Mostly it's like we should divide the main point into sub point to make them
Yes, you can
do all, like do all.
Yes.
Even there's like their own way or whatever. Document even their own as well. And then
Yes.
we combine it like that. But I'm not sure I can divide those main idea into sub idea.
Based on the team, based on member. One more thing that I would like to tell you is that for my class, I don't care whoever do it, or I don't care you could be from the other. I don't care you could be from the other class or other member or other project or the other implement project. I don't care. The thing that I care is that each person can represent to present their point, understand the global goal of your projects. How does it work? Only this. You can copy resource from anything, but at least you understand it.
One more, like we have 2 groups that have the same topic, right? So
Yep.
I'm afraid that if the 2 groups reside at the same source, there's some problem.
The same source, but I don't think that you write everything particularly the same. That hello everyone, the other team hello everyone the same.
No, I mean like it may be boring, like have one already and the other one just also use that topic as well, and even the same or something.
They can't. But I hope that the way that they present the project is different.
And sometimes it's a bit unfair, like if one group is better, like it's whole detail after they get the information from the first group. So
I don't ask you to submit your project description. You see the last second punch. The last week of the class is the presentation day and the submission day in that time too. So you do not need to submit your work during the class.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because during the class, you just only need to submit the team member, project title, and task division only. The way that you do the result that you get, everyone don't know it. At least you say to the other. Okay?
It's like compare each other, which one detail, which one is not.
But you can know one thing, that if the people wait to see the other comparisons, you can make something like, okay, you have already finished everything, so you don't want the other to copy your work. You just submit it in the last minute of the submission deadline. No one can copy you.
No, for that, that's okay. It's just like, I don't know.
One thing that you have to know that I can observe you post first, you post later, and if they copy, I can evaluate by myself. So don't care about it. Don't worry. I will handle it.
So like about copy, it's okay. Like it's okay. Like but if like one topic for two group, there will be if other group do better, and if you're like you feel like it's so disappointed or something.
Something in the competition, you always have loss and wins. So if you lost, it means that you are not qualified enough to reach the win. But how you lost? You lost with a good friend or you lost with the bad friends. For example, you do nothing, so you lost with the bad friends. But if you try your best to finish something, however, you lost to them, but it means that you still have the progress, you have developed something, you have the good point to compare to them, but the total qualification of the system is just only less than them.
Okay.
No need to worry. Just only try your best. Everything will be okay.
Not quite.
Hello, teacher. We can choose a group by ourselves, right?
Yeah, I assign group by yourself, but at least we have 5 people to represent the group.
What you mean by 5 people, teacher?
5 people. As you know, the rule of the team is mean that the class will be divided into 5 groups. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 until number 5. So each group must contain those ranked people. If you would like to join in each person group, you just contact to him or say that, okay, please add me to this group. Can you accept me as a group member or not, or what? Okay.
So student from rank 1 to rank 5 cannot in the same group like that.
You cannot.
Okay.
អត់តោះលោកគ្រូក្រុមពួកខ្ញុំយក topic ទី1លើ OpenSSH លោកគ្រូ
if you are sure you have enough team member, just you see when you post the project, please project title team member.
Yeah, teacher, my leader, my group team leader, he's already write the name.
So when you write a name, you don't need to tell me. Just post in that way before everyone. Make sure that you have enough member. Because for example, if you have only 5 member and then the other team have 8 member and then you still member cannot find the team, you have the problem.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Do not post in meeting here. You post in the, you see, I say that you post in the team post. This is in the, it's not a post, just a reply to the comment chat only. Okay. Your master create one Excel file for each team. So you can choose your team member by using this one and the topic. You should know that first come, first serve about the topic. Each topic, they have their own difficulty and in easy point. So let's choose by your team member. We have only 3 teams. So, okay, do you have any more questions?
So I mean like we just go to the link and write our name.
Please
for
post
each
your,
group, right?
for example, if you have the title and then your team, please create one, because if you use master, I do not know which one post first.
Okay.
I cannot identify first come, first serve. You can print screen your team member and then you can post it. Okay. No question more. So if you don't have any question more, if you have question, you can still chat to me. But I don't want to waste your time to collect team member. You see, you have only until 5 o'clock, but now it's 3:42. Some student that are absent during today, they are not in the team. They are outside. They do not know. So master, don't forget to alert everyone, and they don't have the choice. 5 o'clock today is the limit. So if over 5 o'clock,
Hello,
no
teacher. Can you
excuse.
pause the topic, teacher?
Yeah. I will say now. Okay, let me. I will give you the material slide.
លោកគ្រូសូមមើលលោកគ្រូឲ្យយើងផុសចូលក្នុងចូល topic ហ្នឹងតើតែយើងគ្រប់ member ដែរមែនលោកគ្រូ
You can ask your team leader to post.
អត់ទេលោកគ្រូខ្ញុំចង់និយាយថាឧទាហរណ៍បើ leader គេចង់រើសអា topic ហ្នឹងមួយតែ member គេអត់បានរើស member ឯងលោកគ្រូអញ្ចឹងយើងអាចផុសបានលោកគ្រូ
You cannot. Actually, you have to.
លោកគ្រូដោយសារ
The
តា
final decisions.
លោកគ្រូដោយសារតាឥឡូវខ្ញុំនៅខេត្តចឹងខ្ញុំអាចឲ្យ member ខ្ញុំផុសចំនួនបានទេ
Yeah, you can.
អរគុណច្រើនលោកគ្រូ
Okay, just the other announcements. From January, we will have the physical class, not online class anymore.
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
Okay. Yes,
But
good.
teacher, like the school policy, they said only 50 member.
We have online class with our theory class 2 hours. After that, for the physical class, we will go to the physical. We will spend 6 hours because currently, actually, it's like a corruption that I spend on nearly 4 hours a day, but we count 6 hours. I don't want to do like that because normally in online class, it's not good to discussions. When you have the problem, we cannot solve by explanation. I would like to measure your capacity and your understanding. I cannot do. So, TP class, separate 2 groups. Online class for the course. Okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, good. So take your time now. Try to make it as soon as possible. Okay. Enjoy your weekends.
Try to stay.
Why you try to stay now?
I'm sorry. Bye bye.
Okay, you are going to sleep now.
No. My career is still not good.
Okay, it's better that you try it. Good. Okay, bye bye everyone. See you next year.
Goodbye, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay.
Bye, teacher.
Enjoy your
Merry
evening.
Christmas.
Okay, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, Merry Christmas. I will be Christmas in Cambodia, not here. Okay, bye-bye.